Hello, Delaware County. Welcome back to Off the Record with your weekly highlights of county news from The Reporter, your finest news source. I'm Andrew Cantor with the latest of what's happened and happening in the county this week. This edition of Off the Record is brought to you by Decker Advertising. If you've got a school or a business or a team you want to promote, a Facebook post ain't gonna do it. You want to get the word out with banners and t-shirts and lawn signs, car magnets, or more. The more often people see your message, the better they'll remember it. So give a call to Decker Advertising. You'll be surprised how little it can cost to create custom signs, clothing, and all sorts of other products. Get a free estimate and maybe some great ideas too. Call them at 607-746-2178 or visit dckr.com. And now here's some of the latest Delaware County news. Delaware County is setting aside $75,000 in case its insurance policy doesn't cover some of the expenses in defending a lawsuit from The Reporter. County officials told The Reporter's owners back in 2023 that they didn't like the paper's coverage and that the county was going to pull all its public notices from The Reporter unless the paper changed its coverage. And the officials, they put this in writing. See, the problem is that's not legal. The county can't decide where to place its notices based on what a newspaper writes. Still, county officials made good on their threat, and they started putting their notices in the tiny Hancock Herald down in the far southeast of the county. Officially, county officials say it was to save money. It's a few $1,000s a year. Unfortunately, the letter they sent to The Reporter explained the truth, that the officials were punishing the paper for its coverage. And thus, The Reporter sued. And that suit was even covered by the New York Times, and it's still ongoing. The big irony of all this is that the county's insurance has to pay to defend against the lawsuit, and you can bet the county's premiums are going to go up. And now the county has to set aside that $75,000. That's money that could be used for, fixing roads, paying police, buying school books. But hey, the county is saving a couple of $1,000 by running its notices in Hancock. We've got two stories about electric vehicles this week. First, there's the Downsville Central School, which got itself an electric school bus with a $375,000 grant. It's already traveled 10,000 miles. It can carry up to 48 of the county's quiet and well-behaved youth. The grant also paid for a charger for the bus, which is kind of important. Obviously, charging is not as fast as filling it with diesel, but it doesn't fill the kids' lungs with pollution, so there is that. It also costs a bit less to run and is a lot quieter. The bus is kind of a proof of concept for the idea of switching to zero-emission buses, possibly throughout the county. Meanwhile, in Delhi, the village took delivery of its first electric vehicle. It's a Nissan Leaf, paid for also by a state grant. And just like in Downsville, the idea is to see how well an electric vehicle will work for the village. So far, village employees seem pretty happy with it. They say it's smooth, it's quiet, and has some pretty darned impressive acceleration. Not that they take advantage of that. So testing an electric car, it's all part of Delhi's move to be a bit more sustainable, a little less energy hungry, and to move towards a greener future. The event center that's supposed to open at the site of the former Kellogg Elementary School in Treadwell, it's still bogged down in red tape from the Franklin Planning Board. It's funny, the marijuana processing plant on the same site, no problems. The Combo Hotel and Event Center, problems. First it was the number of rooms and the number of people. Then it was concern about the noise. Then it was people wandering off the property. And now the latest problem, it's the issue of water. And it's whether the Treadwell water system can handle the demand of a few hundred people on a weekend. After meeting with the planning board, yet again, owner Jonah Shaw thought the board was going to look into the issue. Turns out the board expected him to do the research, that's with local engineers, the water department, and the State Department of Health, and then get back to the board. After that, they say they may want to do another study to make extra sure. Anyway, the saga of the former Kellogg Elementary School will continue at the Franklin Planning Board's next meeting in February. This episode is also brought to you by Klinger Power Sports. Whether you're looking for an ATV, a UTV, snowmobile, a trailer, or some kind of an accessory, check out Klinger Power Sports in Walton or visit them at klingerpowersports.com, and that's Klinger with a K. Here's some interesting news about Delaware County 911. According to the county's 911 coordinator, Mark Rossley, in 2024, the county's 911 center received more than 103,000 calls, although most were to the non-emergency lines, not to actually 911. And that included general service calls, police calls, EMS calls, and fire calls. And if you do the math, it comes out to about 283 calls per day, and that's to just 3 dispatchers.
A surprising stat? In 2024, there were more calls from landlines than there were in 2023. Now, sure, mobile phone calls made up the majority, but the fact that more people were calling for emergency services from landlines than last year, well, that says something. What? It's not clear. Maybe it's something about the callers, or maybe about the lack of wireless coverage in the county.
Thanks to the Friends of Bramley Mountain Fire Tower, the Bramley Mountain Fire Tower has reopened on the Bramley Mountain Trail, which straddles Delhi and Bovina. It's only opened briefly just now. It will be open a lot more in better weather. The tower was originally constructed way back in 1950 and then dismantled in 1975. But instead of being thrown out or repurposed, it was actually stored at a local farm. And in 2020, the owner offered it for reassembly. And, well, 4 years later, thanks to those Friends of Bramley Mountain Fire Tower and the Catskill Mountain Club, it got reassembled. And now, if the weather improves, they hope it'll be a tourist attraction, a destination for hikers. You can climb up to the top and get some beautiful views of the surrounding landscape. Come spring, it is expected to be open on weekends and holidays and for special occasions. Right now, though, you don't want to be climbing up in the freezing cold. And that's all we have for you this week, and it's just for starters. Remember, to get all the news that matters to you and your Delaware County community, subscribe to The Reporter at the-reporter.net or call 607-464-4009. We'll see you next week.